Hello, welcome back to another biometrics integration demo. Today, I am going to show you a C-Sharp biometric registration demo that I implemented using the ZKTeco 4500 Fingerprint Scanner. This application will capture the user's particulars and then also capture their biometrics data and finally save it inside a MySQL database. So to get us started, I am going to start Visual Studio. So I click on it here from the taskbar. So you can see Visual Studio is starting. Yeah, these are the other projects that I've been working on in the past. The one that I want us to dwell on is this particular one. This one here for ZKTeco 4500 C-Sharp and MySQL Biometric Registration demo. So I'm going to click on it. It is actually initializing, but there is another ZKTeco C-Sharp biometric integration that I did in the past, but that one was for fingerprint capture only. Let me know whether you've been able to check out that ZKTeco 4500 C-Sharp biometric integration for fingerprint capture. All right. Now our Visual Studio ID has initialized. Our application is now ready for us to start working on it. Now, as you can see, right here, this application only has 3 files only. This file here, that is the program.cs, the appsettings.json, and then the helper class. All right. I will take you through the code later. For now, I just want to run the application so that you can get a feel of what I will be showing you in the next few minutes. So before we start, let me first clean it. So the application was successfully cleaned. Let us build it. So the application was successfully built, as you can see, this bit here. Let us now run the application. So I'm going to click on this to run the application. It is a console-based application, by the way. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So as you can see, the application is now ready for us to continue. Right here at the top, you can read the ZKTeco 4500 C-Sharp and MySQL Biometric Registration console application. So in this application, we are going to be requested for the first name. And when requested for the first name, we will enter the first name, that is Joseph. And then when requested for surname, we will enter Muema. When requested for technical role, right here, we will enter biometrics engineer. When requested for email, we will enter my official email address. Did I just type? Then when requested to enter biometric scanner model, we will type ZKTeco 4500. Then when requested for tech stack, we will type C#.net. Then when prompted to enter biometric database name, we will type MySQL. And then when prompted to enter the website, we will provide my official web address. That is the web address for my website. And then we press enter. Then the next part is where we are now being prompted to capture fingerprint 1 here. So if you want to proceed, we type 1. Otherwise, if we don't, we press 2. So in our case, since we want to proceed, we type 1 for yes. Then we press enter. Observe what happens. So you can see right here, we are being requested to place finger on the ZKTeco 4500 reader. So I'm going to present my left index finger on the ZKTeco 4500 fingerprint scanner. Observe what happens. So the application was able to successfully capture my left index finger. And then it also displayed it, by the way. So I have code that will actually pop the fingerprint image of the captured finger. So, okay, I just clicked the consoles and then the image went to the backend. Otherwise, here it is. If I just click on the console, the image will just go to the backend. So that is the first image, the first fingerprint image from the left index finger. Then the application continues to ask us to capture finger 2. Remember, just before that, we had been prompted to capture finger 1 here. And then when we did that, the application returned this message to show that the capture finger 1 was done. And then it went to the next part. That is where it now now asks us to capture finger 2 here. So now do we want to capture finger 2? Since we want to capture finger 2, we type 1 for yes. And then we press enter. And then the application will initialize the device. And then it will start the process of capturing the finger. So in our case, for finger 2, we are going to present the right index finger. So now let us specify our choice again as 1 for yes, so that the application starts the process of capturing the right index finger. So I press enter here. Observe what happens. So the application is requiring us to place finger on the ZKTeco finger reader. So I'm going to present my right index finger on the scan. Observe what happens. Yeah, the application has actually captured the right index. So if I click on the console right here, you can see this message here. Capturing finger 2 done. Then it asks us, do you want to save the captured data? Now this data here, do you want to save the captured data, the one that I've just shown you, and enrolled biometrics to database? Then we are supposed to decide whether we are going to say yes or no. So if we want to say yes, we type 1. If we want to say no, we type 2. So for now, since this is just the beginning, the preview, I am not going to save the data. I am going to say no. But before I say no, I would like to show you the fingers, the fingerprint images that were just captured a short while ago. Here they are. This is the first finger, that is the left index, and this is the right index. I think I could just space them out like this so that we can see all of them right here. So this is the left index finger and this is the right index finger. Hope you can see that. This is the left index finger and this is the right index finger. So if I go back to the console, we have this last prompt here, that is, do you want to save the captured data and enrolled biometric to the database? So I do not intend to save this data inside the database right now, because I will do that later after I show you the piece of the code that I implemented to have this ZKTeco 4500 C# Biometric Registration demo. So let me say no, and for no we are going to type 2. Just going to type 2, that is to say no. And then the application asks us again, do you want to cancel the registration? We say yes, we want to cancel that registration. So registration cancelled. Data was not saved to database. So now, before I take you to the code, I first want to show you how the backend looks like. So I'm going to open the HeidiSQL database management tool so that I can take you to the MySQL database backend where we would have saved this data here and the biometrics fingerprint images data that we just captured a few minutes ago, this one. So now let me open the HeidiSQL database management tool. Here it is. This is the icon for that utility tool. This right here, this entry here is the one that we are going to work on. That is where the database and the table for this application is. So I click open. So we have this database here, that is ZKTeco 4500 C# Integ database. And then we have this table here, that is consultant. Alright, so if we go to data, you will see that there is nothing because we have not yet, it is empty because we have not yet saved any entry here. But to confirm that, we could actually run a query. Let us run a query here. That is select star from consultant, this table here. So I do run and you will see that it is actually empty. Suppose we even do a select count from that same table. So it should give us a 0 because there is no entry inside our consultant table here. If I click run, you can see that our select count query returns a 0. Alright. So that's it. Now, let me take you back to the console. We need to now end this console. We will come back to it again later. Let me just press enter. Then we also need to close these images that were captured. So I close it and I close it. Now, let me take you to the Visual Studio IDE. Like I mentioned earlier, we have these 3 files here in our application. They are the only files that this application is using. Let me first show you where I am saving the database connection parameters in the application. I am doing that inside the appsettings.json, this one here. So you can see the server, I'm doing localhost. The port for my database, that is MySQL, is 3307. And then the user is ZKTeco. Let me show you from the right here. So you can see the user here is ZKTeco, this one here. And then the password, this password here, you can see from our Heidi database management tool. This is where we enter that password. And then the database. Remember, this is the database connection string. And then the database is ZKTeco 4500 C# integ. So if we go to HeidiSQL database management tool and then we access the database, you can see this is the same database right here. That is ZKTeco 4500 C# integ. So that's our database, the same one that we have in this connection string. All right. Let me now take you back to program.cs. So now inside our program.cs file is where the majority of the code that runs this application is located. So I'm going to take you through the code, and then after I have taken you through the code, we will do a biometric registration with our C# and MySQL ZKTeco 4500 console application. Then we capture a person's details, we enroll their biometrics data, and then we save it. And then at the very end, we will go back to our HeidiSQL database management tool. Then we review how that data was saved inside our MySQL database. Remember, we don't have any data. As you can see right here, it is empty. You can see right here it gives us the count as 0 because there is no data that we have actually captured and saved. The one that we did at the very beginning when I was doing the preview, you remember that I cancelled it. When asked whether to save to the database, I said no. But then we will do another registration process together, and we save the person's particulars and their biometrics data inside the database, and then we will come back here to the HeidiSQL database management tool to review how that data was saved inside our database, inside our MySQL database. So for now, let me minimize this database management tool so that we go back to program.cs file. So for you to run this application, you will need this DLL here. Let me show you. Actually, it is a dependency that you need to add to your application. It is provided by your ZKTeco 4500 Fingerprint SDK. So here it is, and this is the one that we are referencing here. And then you will also need to install the MySQL client package to allow you to be able to connect to the MySQL database. Remember this appsettings.json file where we have this database connection string. So with this, you will need this to be able to connect to your MySQL database and actually save data to it. So let us start by me taking you through the code. So the main of this code is inside the program class. So this is where we have the title for the application. You remember you saw it in the console application. And then this bit for load configuration, let me show you. Let me go to load configuration so that I can show you what is happening there. Actually, that is where we are doing the configuration for connecting to the database. So it is this function here. And then you can see that it is actually loading the appsettings.json. Where is our appsettings.json? This one here. This one here, where we have the database connection string. Alright. So we go back. In step 1 of our main method is where we are going to capture the person's detail. So here is where we capture the first name, the surname right here, the technical role, the email, the biometric scanner model, the tech stack, the biometric database, the website. Alright. And then in step 2 is where we capture fingerprint 1, and in step 3 is where we capture fingerprint 2. So to capture fingerprint 1, we need to call this method here, that is capture fingerprompt. Let me take you to capture fingerprompt, but there is something that I wanted to notify you. So when you're capturing finger 1 image, we specify, we pass 1 as an argument inside our capture fingerprompt function, and when capturing finger 2, we pass 2 as an argument in our capture fingerprompt function. Okay. Now, I want to show you how this capture fingerprompt function looks like. So let me take you there. So here is our capture fingerprompt function. So you can see it has this argument that is finger number. So if it is finger 1, we supply 1. If it is for finger 2, we supply 2. Alright. Now that I've been able to show you how to capture the person's particulars in step 1 and how to capture finger 1 and finger 2, so let me show you what happens when you capture finger 1. So when you capture finger 1, this is the function that is called, and then it will run this function here to get the template data. I wonder why I wrote data instead of data. So when you capture fingerprint 1, this is the function that is called, and when we do capture finger 2, this is a function that is called. So in both cases, they will fire the startCaptureAsync function to get the template data. Now let me take you to startCaptureAsync function. So here is our startCaptureAsync function. So the first thing is that it does open the scanner, then it captures the fingerprint image and template, then thereafter it closes the scanner, and at the very end it frees up the ZKTeco Fingerprint SDK resources. So to do that, we first need to get a handle to the ZKTeco device. Then we also need to get the image width and the image height. So we initialize these variables here with 0. And then we initialize the ZKTeco API helper class. So with this object, we initialize the SDK. So that is the first thing that we do. And then thereafter, we get the count of the ZKTeco Fingerprint Scanners devices that are connected to the computer. Remember, we can only use one at a time. That is one ZKTeco device at a time. Okay, for this application, you can set use 2, but for me, I just limited it to 1. So if it is more than 1, I actually notify you that the application only requires to use only 1. So that is why I have this message here. And then I do this index. So I assume since I have one device, I assign it index 0. Sorry, I don't assume. If I have one device, I assign it index 0. Then I call this ZKTeco function here, that is open device, so that I can open the only ZKTeco 4500 fingerprint scanner that is connected to the computer. So I pass the index 0, and then if it was successful, I return this message here. If we successfully open the device, I return this message that is opening ZKTeco device succeeded. Otherwise, if there was an issue, I return this message, open ZKTeco device failed. Right? Then from there, we proceed to get the parameters, that is for the device handle, the width, and the height. So here we get the width, then here we get the height. Because we are going to need the width and the height to specify the canvas size of the fingerprint image. That is where it will be drawn after it is captured. And then it is also going to help us to determine the buffer size of the image, that is the height and the width. So with our height and width, we use that to allocate the byte buffer, and the template buffer. So these two, we will pass them into a ZKTeco function for finger capture, so that we can be able to retrieve both the image and the template. Alright. So right here, we call that function, we call this function here from our ZKTeco helper class. That is this one here. This one here. So we have this object here that we got from initializing the ZKTeco helper class. And then we call this method here. And then we pass the device handle, that is the device handle of the opened ZKTeco device, the fingerprint buffer, remember the one we allocated with length and width size for the bytes, and then we also pass the buffer for the templates. Sorry, for the template. Okay, let me repeat this again. So with our object here, with our initialized object, we call this function here CaptureFingerPrintImage from our ZKTeco helper class, this one here. And then we pass the device handle, that is a ZKTeco 4500 device handle of the opened ZKTeco device. Then we pass this byte buffer here, that is fingerprint buffer. Then we pass this byte buffer here, that is for fingerprint template. And then the size of the template buffer, let me show you where we are getting that one from. This one here. So this one, if you read the documentation, you see that you first pre-assign it 2048. So your extracted fingerprint template could be a different size, but it should be a lesser size than 2048. So this is the maximum that you are given to preserve a memory size for your fingerprint template. And also, using the same value, you preserve a byte array of the same size for your template buffer. Now let me show you how this pieces together from the helper class. So from the helper class, you can see this int pointer here, this one here. This is for the device handle. That is, how is it? Yeah, this one here. Then this byte array here, that is for the fingerprint image. So if I come back here, you see it is this one here. And then this byte array here for the template buffer, it is from this one here. So this is what you're going to pass for that. And then let me go back to the helper class. Then this reference here, that is the size of the fingerprint template buffer, the PR. So we are going to receive this one, by the way, from the ZKTeco API, but we pass 2048 from this one here, that is size fingerprint template buffer. Remember this from here? Yeah. So once we call the capture fingerprint image, this one here, let me show you this one here, we will receive the bytes of the image, and we will receive a byte array of the image and a byte array of the fingerprint template. Sorry, I need to repeat this. Once we call this function here, we will retrieve a byte array of the captured fingerprint image and a byte array of the extracted fingerprint template. Then from there, we will display the fingerprint image using this function here. And then for the template, we will extract it and then convert it to an encoded base64 string for purposes of ease of saving it to the MySQL database. Then at the very end, we will free up the resources. We will close the fingerprint scanner, and then we will free up the allocated resources. So I've been able to show you what happens in the startCaptureAsync function that is called by either CaptureFinger1 or CaptureFinger2. That is when you are prompted to capture fingerprint 1 and when you are prompted to capture fingerprint 2. So you can see that in both scenarios, they're actually calling startCaptureAsync function for purposes of capturing the fingerprint image and extracting the captured fingerprint template. Alright. Now that I've been able to take you through what happens during the fingerprint capture process for both instances of fingerprint 1 and fingerprint 2, let me now show you step 4, where we now save the captured data and the enrolled biometrics inside our MySQL database. So here is step 4, the one that I'm referring to right now. So in step 4, we just call the ConfirmSave function, and ConfirmSave function is the one that is going to save all the person's particulars and their biometric data to the MySQL database. Let me take you to this function so that you can see what it looks like. So in ConfirmSave function, right here, you can see, remember this message from the console application at the beginning? That is when I was taking you through the preview of the application, where we received this message towards the very end. That is, do you want to save the captured data and enrolled biometrics to database? Remember that question? So it is actually coming from ConfirmSave function. So based on our decision whether we provide 1 for a yes or 2 for a no, then the application proceeds to save the person's data into the database. Let me show you how that happens. So to save to database, this is the function that is called. So the first thing that happens is getting a connection to the MySQL database. So we actually in save to database function. Then we retrieve all the entered values, that is for the first names, surname, tech role, email, bioscanner, tech stack, a database, the website, finger 1 and finger 2, all of them. And then we proceed to save them to database. And if then, but this is what executes that. It executes this prepared statement for saving the particulars and the biometrics data to database. So the execute non-query here is the one that does the insert, and then if it was successful, we get this message that is data successfully saved to the MySQL database. Otherwise, if there was an issue, then this is the message that will be returned. That is, no data was entered to MySQL database. Please check your inputs. So basically that's it. Let us now do an actual biometric registration of a person with their person details and their biometric fingerprints data, and then we save that to the database, and then we go back to our HeidiSQL database management tool to check how that data was saved in the MySQL database. Before we start, let me just confirm to you again that we actually don't have any data inside our database right now. So if we run this select star from consultant, we should still get an empty. And if we run select count again, we get a 0. Implying that there is no record inside the MySQL database. So now let me minimize this, and then I click on this, we do an actual registration. Then you see how this goes, how we do the biometrics enrollment, and how we then save it. Let me click on this to run the application. So the application has started, so you can actually see ZKTeco 4500, CSharp, and MySQL Biometric Registration Console application. So right here, we are being prompted to enter first name. So I will type Joseph. Then I press enter. So right now I am being prompted to enter surname. So I will type Moima and press enter. Right here, I am being prompted to enter technical role. So I will type biometrics engineer, then press enter. Then in the next prompt, I'm being asked to enter email. I will enter my official email address. Now in this prompt, I'm being required to enter the biometric scanner model. I will type ZKTeco 4500. Then I press enter. In this other prompt, I'm being asked to enter the tech stack. So I type C#. .net. Sorry, I typed something wrong. Then I press enter. Then right here I am being prompted for biometric database name. I will type MySQL. In this other prompt, I'm being asked to enter the website. So I will type my official website address. And press enter. So now we are at the step where we are being asked to capture finger 1. So for finger 1, I will enroll my left index finger. So right now, the choice that I will enter is 1 for yes. Then I press enter. And then you can see now I'm being asked to place finger on ZKTeco 4500. So I place my left index finger on the scanner. Observe what happens. So the left index finger has been captured. Its image has been displayed. Here it is. Let me drag it here below like this so that I can click on the console again. Then you can actually see this message here that is capture finger 1 done. So this is the message that was actually returned after we successfully. What happened? Need to scroll this on. Let me take this one up here so that I can see. Yes, so that you can see the image here. So after the image was captured and displayed, the application returned capturing finger 1 done. Now, there's this other part here where the application is asking us to capture finger 2. Then your choice. So we are going to enter 1 for yes. So I press 1. Press enter. So for finger 2, I am going to present my right index finger on the scanner. So I press enter. You can see right here we are being asked to place finger on ZKTeco 4500. So I place my right index finger on the ZKTeco 4500 scanner. Observe what happens. So there goes our right index finger. Let me scroll, let me drag it to the right here. Then I click on our console here. Okay, then, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. So you can see we have this message here, capturing finger 2, done. So this message was returned after we successfully captured fingerprint 2, that is the right index. This other one here is for the left index. Alright, now there's this message here that is, do you want to save the captured data and enrolled biometrics to database? Remember in the preview we said no, we specified 2 for no, but for now we are going to specify yes because we want to save this person to the database. So we type 1, we specify choice 1 or yes. So what happens? Yeah, we got this message here. Data successfully saved to the MySQL database. That is, data successfully saved to MySQL database. Now that we have been able to successfully save the user to the database, we need to confirm whether this was indeed successful, as we are seeing from the application, by logging into the database and then confirming whether there is any data entry inside our MySQL database. So when I say our MySQL database, I'm actually referring to this database here, that is the ZKTeco 4500 C# Inted database and the consultant table. I need to come here and then we run this query here, that is select star from consultant. Initially it was empty when we would run this query before, that is select star consultant, before there was any entry, before we made any actual registration is you're actually getting an empty here. The same for select count. It was returning at 0 before we did any biometric registration. Now that we have done a biometric registration, let us see what result we get from running select star from consultant. So I'm going to do run, and you can see for sure that the data that we entered from the front end has actually been saved in our consultant table because we have this raw entry here. So you can see for first name, we have Joseph. For surname, we have Moema. For tech role, you can see we have biometrics engineer. For email, you can see we have the official email address that we specified. And you can see that for the biometric scanner, we have the ZKTeco 4500. For the tech stack, we have CSharp.net. And for the database, we have MySQL. For website, we have the CSharp website address. And for finger one, you can see that we have the biometric fingerprint image data from the left index. And for finger 2, you can see that we have the biometric fingerprint image data from the right index. And then there is this created time field. You can see this entry actually went into the database at 21st October of 2025 at around 15:34. So what is the time right now? The time right now is 3:38. So actually 4 minutes ago was when we did this biometric registration. All right. Then let us now check our select count. Yes, again query. So if we initially when we ran the select count, it was returning at 0, but now that we have an entry that was saved into the database, we don't expect it to be at 0 because already we can see that we have a row entry there. So we should see something else that is different from a 0. So now we do run, and you can see that it gives us 1 because we have one row entry inside our consultant SQL table. So basically that's going to be it. Before I wind up, I just remember that I did not show you the database, the table structure of the consultant table. So here is how it looks like. For the ID, we have an int of size 10. For first name, we have the varchar form of size 100. For surname, we have a varchar of size 100. For tech role, we have a varchar of size 100. For email, we have a varchar of size 254. Bioscanner, we have a varchar of size 200. For tech stack, we have a varchar of size 200. For biodatabase, we have a varchar of size 100. For website, we have a varchar of size 200. For finger 1, we have a varchar of size 5000. For finger 2, we have a variable character of size 5000. And then where we show our time and the date created, we have a timestamp data type. So when I say varchar, I am referring to the variable character type. This one here, the ones you see in green. So that's all that I wanted to show you for our ZKTeco 4500 C# and MySQL Biometric Registration Console application. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section of this video. And if you need assistance in integrating your ZKTeco device on your software application, I do provide paid services for such. You can check the description of my services in the pinned comment or in the description of the video, where you will also learn about the prices for my consulting services. Otherwise, let me thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. Stay tuned for the next video demo, where I will be showing you how to do ZKTeco 4500 C# Biometric Fingerprint Authentication. Thank you for staying all the way to the end. See you in the next one. Bye bye.